Starting at guard, number 15, Mr. Elliott!
Oh, hold up, guys. Sorry, I gotta make sure that ball doesn't break anything, or else Mrs. Elliott would be very upset with me. Hey, good Wednesday morning. Today is April 22nd, 2020. Today is going to be our Wacky Wednesday, obviously. I'm going back to my high school days playing some basketball. No, I appreciate being a basketball coach, but more so, guys, I hope you're ready for another full day of learning. You're going to do an amazing job. I know you will. I love getting your songs yesterday that you sent to me. I love seeing the hard work with measuring. And a shout out to Jax Underhill. He found a ginormous mushroom and was able to measure it. It was a tremendous mushroom. So, Jax, thanks for sharing that with me. And hopefully today is going to be another day of great e-learning. It's hard to believe that this is day number 11 of our e-learning, week 4. So let's get started, guys. Hey there, guys. Welcome to our talk show today. We have a special guest joining us today. I'm so excited because I've never been able to talk to somebody like this. We're labeling our talk show today the Nightly Negotiations because we have Sir Knox the Knight here. Sir Knox, thank you for joining us today.
Sir Knox here, Mr. Elliott. Thank you for having me. I am a noble knight who fights to save the day. I am glad to be here. I am ready to answer your questions, Mr. Elliott.
I'd like to ask you a couple questions. My first question is can you tell us about your job that you do?
My job is to guard the palace and to look good.
Very nice. Second thing is what's it like wearing all that armor?
Wearing this armor, it makes you feel strong, and obviously it is very heavy quality, so therefore it is hot to wear this armor.
I bet. And I want to wrap up, Sir Knox, with do you have any advice that you would give our viewers and our classmates?
My advice is to be strong, be courageous, and to be brave, and good things will happen.
There you guys have it. We want to say, Sir Knox, thank you so much.
Thanks for having Sir Knox. Until next time, stay strong.
And that is a wrap for our nightly negotiations. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, guys, homework today. Reading. You're going to go on Google Forms, and you're going to describe Moses as a person. How would you describe his character? Then you're going to get on iReady reading about 15 minutes, and wrap up reading by reading a book for about 20 minutes. Moving to writing, you've got a journal entry, and then you're going to do a Google Docs poem that focuses on your feelings, what you're feeling, your emotions that you're feeling. You can use my poem, Unknown, as an example. That takes us to math. In math, you're going to have a Google form, only one today, and it's just going to deal with some different measuring questions that I have covered in today's video and yesterday's video. You got Zern for about 15 minutes, and then you're going to finish math off with Prodigy for about 15 minutes. And your activity and challenge is going to be art today. You're going to draw a picture of a Walt Disney character. Yesterday we were talking about how characters how are faced with an event or a challenge, and how do they respond to that. Our story that we chose was Moses Goes to a Concert. So let's recap what we read from Moses Goes to a Concert up to this point. We know that Moses is deaf, he cannot hear, but that does not stop him from liking music. At the very beginning of the story it says that he got a drum from his parents. And we know that he's going to school and he's got a field trip. His teacher, Mr. Samuels, has something in a black trash bag. They don't know what it is, and we later find out that when they go to this orchestra, to this concert, that the teacher, Mr. Samuels, takes out balloons and gives to each of the students. And the reason he gives them balloons is so they can feel the vibration of the music. So even though our students, especially Moses, cannot hear using their ears, they hear by the feel of vibrations. Well, it just so happens to we're at a point where there's a percussionist that is a friend of Mr. Samuel's. And when she comes out on stage, she is only wearing her socks. She does not have shoes on. We find out that that is Mr. Samuel's friend, and she, too, is deaf. So let's continue reading and see what happens and how this story ends. The percussionist watches the conductor and moves from one instrument to the next, striking each to make a sound. Moses and his classmates hold their balloons on their laps. They can feel the music as the balloon picks up the vibrations. Moses signs, "I feel vibrations." When the concert is over, Mr. Samuels has another surprise. He takes the children on stage to meet his friend, Miss Marjorie Elwin. "She will tell you how she became a percussionist," signs Mr. Samuels. "My friends and I are deaf." So we just found out now that all of Moses' class are deaf. So he's in a class of all the students that cannot hear. But they do not let that stop them. They're faced with this challenge, and yet they continue to overcome it and to use the vibrations to feel it. So let's keep reading. "I became seriously ill at the age of 7, signs Miss Elwin, "and when I recovered, I found out that I had lost my hearing. I was deaf." "What did you do then?" signs Moses. Miss Elwin says, "I worked hard. My heart was set on becoming a percussionist, and I did." "Now you can play on my musical instruments," Miss Elwin signs. "Come with me, children." Anna plays on the marimba. Beverly strikes the triangle. Mark pounds the floor tom and the cymbal. Diana beats the tom-toms. John hits the snare drum. And Moses thumps the bass drum. David strikes the gong. Tommy and Susie play on the tubular bells, while Steve bangs the kettle drum and Maria plays the congas. "Children, we have to go," Mr. Samuel announces after a while. "Miss Elwin has to get ready for another concert." Moses and his classmates sign, "Thank you," and they wave goodbye to Miss Elwin. "Thanks. Goodbye," signs Moses. On the bus on the way home, Moses signs, "It was so much fun." And he signs, "So fun." That night, Moses tells his parents about the concert. Here is what he said. "When you set your mind to it, you can become anything you want when you grow up. A doctor, artist, teacher, lawyer, farmer, electrician, or actor. I want to become a percussionist." And that is how the story ends. We know that even though Moses is deaf, he is still able to play music. He is able to feel vibrations through his hands and his feet. We know that he has now been to a concert where he met Mr. Samuel's friend, Miss Elwin, who is a percussionist and who is also deaf. Now, the thing about her is that she wasn't born deaf. She got ill at the age of 7 and lost her hearing, but she didn't let that stop her. Moses, as well, has set some goals, and he knows that he wants to be a percussionist when he gets older. That in itself can be a challenge because of his hearing loss. But on Google Forms, I want you to write a paragraph or type up a paragraph to explain how you would define Moses' character. What type of person do you think Moses is after listening to Mr. Elliott read this story? So today's homework on Google Forms, go on to Google Forms, and you're gonna just type up, how would you describe Moses to somebody that's never listened to this story? Be sure to include that he is deaf and he cannot hear. Does he let that obstacle stop him from doing what he wants to do? So remember, our standard this week is how a character responds to an event or a challenge. and Moses definitely has a challenge, but he is not afraid to face it. For reading today, we just finished up reading Moses Goes to a Concert. So on Google Forms, you're going to type up, how would you describe Moses as if I've never heard the story? If you were going to talk about the type of person Moses is, how would you describe him? So remember, you're doing this to somebody that has not heard the story. So think about that. How would I describe Moses and the type of person that he is based off of somebody that's never listened or heard the story? That is going to be on Google Forms. When you finish that, go over to iReady Reading and do that for 15 minutes and wrap up your reading with just doing some own personal enjoyment reading for about 20 minutes. Remember, we are most definitely still working on building that fluency. But fluency does not mean necessarily how fast you can read. Yes, we want to be reading 87 words in a minute, but you also need to be able to understand what you read.